We've built some fascinating and beautifully, elegantly designed systems to crush people's will. And we act like we didn't have anything to do with them. We can't keep throwing citizens away.
I was always good in school, but by my mother working 2 jobs, sometimes I would stay home. So eventually dropped out of school, and eventually the streets caught up with me. Got into selling narcotics, joined the gang, they got arrested, went to prison.
First time I went to jail, I was 12 years old. I was a gang member for 18 years. I was a gang chief for 10 years. I did a lot of bad stuff. I was a very bad person. The last time I went to jail for murder and 3 attempted murders. And so I just felt like my legacy would die with me in jail. And people would mention David Figueroa for the rest of history, and he'd be some lowlife who got convicted of killing somebody and was sentenced to jail and never saw the streets again. That's what I thought that my story would end.
North Lawndale, unfortunately, is an example of all that what poverty means. At one time, it was a community that was so economically strong. And unfortunately, after the 1968 civil uprising, after Dr. King's death, lots and lots of people left the community. And with that goes a lot of resources, and that then leaves a door open for some of the other unfortunate social ills to take hold in a community.
NLEN formed out of the foresight of a number of people, particularly the Staines Family Foundation, which had the prescience to recognize that if we were really going to solve some of the problems of the city, we had to work on neighborhoods.
When we got involved with North Lawndale, which is over 20 years now, it was with the idea of how can we be involved in a comprehensive way, and who's doing good work and how can we help them do more.
Workforce development is so pivotal in addressing poverty, and in particular as it pertained to the number of men and women that were coming back on the West Side from our criminal justice system.
Second chance individuals were coming back into the community areas. They didn't have opportunities to move on to another way of life and back into a normal way of life to give them that second chance opportunity they really deserve.
I went in October of 2005 and got out November of 2006. It felt good coming home, it felt good and weird at the same time because everything was still the same. It was like just one long day in prison.
The North Lawndale Employment Network was one of the first organizations to create a job training program that would help to reintegrate men and women who have criminal backgrounds, 1, back into society, and then 2, to prepare them for the labor market.
We came up with a very, very comprehensive approach. We figured out what it was going to cost, what the skill set was going to be to do not just good work, but great work.
The U-Turn Permitted program is NLEN's flagship program for returning citizens. It's a 4-week intensive cognitive restructuring program that helps clients to prepare for entry-level job positions within the labor market.
We lay out the parameters of the program. You have to be drug-free. You have to be committed to 4 weeks of training, Monday through Friday, no days off, just like a real job.
They taught me a lot. They taught me interviewing skills, resume building, things like that.
That felony conviction, whatever it was, is the loudest thing that you have going for you right now. But as you develop through either employment, develop new skills, certifications, and you can go into diplomas and degrees, the felony conviction gets less heard, and the accomplishments and certifications and accolades speak a lot more for you.
When I went to the U-Turn program, I learned a lot of things. I learned how to control my anger, take responsibility for my own actions. The most important thing I learned was that there's actually people out there who care that I make it.
I always wanted to work for CTA, and I'm utilizing my talent, finally, something that I really want to do.
I went through the U-Turn program and I started working with Sweet Beginnings. This gave me the opportunity to have a real job and prove myself.
Sweet Beginnings was born because there just weren't enough jobs available in the community. We probably needed to create our own business and to create a work experience for these men and women that they could then establish a work history and demonstrate to society that they were ready to work and committed to working.
It's great when you need options because society uses your background as a way of weeding you out. And I went from that and rolled right into a truck driving school right after that. A lot of people don't even know how much they help us.
There's two opportunities that we hope to realize with Sweet Beginnings. One is that we can continue to grow the employment base so that folks who want jobs have jobs. And then the second is that we hope that some of that revenue can then be funneled back into North Lawndale Employment Network to capitalize the workforce development programs and any other new programs that Brenda and her team would like to develop.
The Centers for Working Families is a three-part model that focuses on employment, financial literacy, and supportive services. We've just noticed that jobs are just not enough.
The people who go to North Lawndale Employment Network, go to the program, they're lifting, they're carrying their own baggage, and they're emptying it every day because they're dealing with their issues, and they're figuring out how to get it off their back.
I think it's hard to quantify just how transformational it is every time somebody gets a job and keeps it and just becomes a stable member of the working force. And then ultimately the effect that has on a community.
This is a grassroots organization that has matured into a pretty sophisticated way of dealing with local issues.
When I got out of jail, it was so hard for me to find a job. But there's always been something inside of me ever since I got out of jail that I'm gonna use the skills that God's given me and go out there and start a company to hire individuals who come out of jail and are ready to get their life on track.
Our job is to equip them, to work with them, help them see who they are, help society be open to folks who are poor. I'm not just talking about people that are returning citizens, and help them be undeniable.
Well, the future for us looks like, one, we're moving into the Holman Square new development where they are renovating an area so that we have more manufacturing space and office space to do our work. But it also looks like we are scaling up our budget.
Brenda and NLEN have always found a creative new way of expanding the impact of their work. But the numbers of folks that are now getting employment and are staying employed is, we're talking hundreds and on a regular basis. That's transformational.
The vision is to be able to support a broader community, and today they already are. And that's one of the reasons for the continued expansion is that the served community and the opportunity is far greater than just the borders of North Lawndale.
I think it is replicable, but I think it takes a special mix of people. But now we have proof of concept.
I've seen certain blocks in the city of Chicago that have more vacant lots than standing structures, and that does nothing for the community. And so what we want to do is we want to go into these buildings that no one wants, and we want to take these individuals that nobody believes in and mend both of them together. And rebuild communities, rebuild lives. It's a win-win.
I still haven't paid all my dues yet. That's why I'm doing volunteer work and things like that. I just feel I owe Chicago. I try to be the best person that I can be. I notice when kids are looking at me, anybody who's been through my situation, I notice when they're looking, I'm letting them know that if you have dreams, you can actually get them. Dreams only come true when you wake up. It's time for everybody to wake up and make it.